What up, pimps and sims? Y'all niggas know I don't discriminate. Damn, Brody, I finally get to be loud in the crib. Wolf the wolf, doof the doof. Nigga, the crib empty, nigga. Finally get to be in these motherfuckers, be a fucking man. Freak, man. But yeah, Rochelle, the product of generational trauma. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Trauma is real. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Get it. Like, nigga, I used to get my eye whooped. So I know a little bit about trauma, just a little bit. Not OD though. But that shit don't give her no pass for what she did to Chris. I don't give a fuck about what her parents put her through. Nigga, that shit don't give you no right to put your same kid through that same issue. But let's get into it.
Chris's mom, played by the great Tichina Arnold. In this show, Rochelle was portrayed as strict, loud. So one of my favorite shows to watch growing up was Everybody Hates Chris. Releasing back in 2005, this was a sitcom inspired by comedian Chris Rock's real-life childhood growing up in Brooklyn, New York back in the 1980s. It blended together comedy and realistic stories about family, school, race, money, and growing up within the inner city. This show was relatable to me in so many ways, so I naturally gravitated towards it. From the strict household to the family dynamics, everything felt familiar. But the character that always stood out to me was Rochelle, Chris's mom, played by the great Tichina Arnold. In this show, Rochelle was portrayed as strict, loud, and intimidating. Looking back,
Cause that's what she was.
we wrote her in that angry black woman trope. As these years have passed, though, Rochelle has almost become to be viewed as a villain by former watchers. There are countless YouTube videos,
Is she not?
pieces, and comment threads of people discussing how much they hate Rochelle. That's exactly why I'm here to make this video today, in defense of one of my favorite TV moms.
I ain't gonna lie. I feel like most of the people that hate Rochelle, I feel like it's because like she reminds them of their moms a little bit. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I feel like she remind me of my moms a little bit. I don't hate my moms, but she remind me of my moms a little bit.
Personally, I don't think Rochelle deserves the hate that she gets. At the end of the day, this is a show for entertainment. Chris Rock even stated himself, Rochelle was heavily exaggerated for comedy. The yelling,
She better be.
the fear that
I
everyone
would've
had,
popped on his
the
mom.
dramatic "I don't need this job" line. All of these moments were intentionally inflated to make the show funnier and
My
more
husband has
entertaining.
two
And honestly,
jobs.
not to get too deep,
Two.
although I love going deep, but I also think a lot
The
of this
fuck?
dogpiling comes from the
And
fact
pussy?
that she's a black woman. Fictional or not, black women are constantly judged more harshly and unfairly than everyone else. Let's take Lois from the TV show Malcolm in the Middle. In my opinion, Lois is way more toxic than Rochelle, and the two characters share a lot of
I never
similarities.
watched
I
Malcolm
rarely
in the
see
Middle.
level of think pieces or non-stop criticism aimed towards her. In this video, I'll be recapping the episode Everybody Hates Funerals because I believe it highlights the core reasons why Rochelle is the way she is. The episode explores themes of generational trauma, respectability politics, and the unequal treatment of boys versus girls within a black household. Through these dynamics, we gain a deeper understanding of Rochelle's values, behaviors, and parenting style. But enough talking. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's hop into it.
I was born ready.
So the episode starts off with Rochelle barging into Chris's room, reminding him once again to stop leaving his yo-yo on the floor. Chris then goes on to explain how his mom is always nagging and yelling at everyone around the house, including herself. At first glance, all of this can seem like pointless whining and complaining, but it's actually much deeper than that. You see, Rochelle represents a old school type of parent, one built on discipline and responsibility. Also, in defense of Rochelle, she is a stay-at-home mother who spends most of her day cleaning, cooking, and keeping the house in order. Her nagging is really her just enforcing the idea that everyone clean up after themselves to
Alright, two things. Alright, first thing, right? Alright. This gonna be a little dumb, right? And don't take it seriously, but don't take it too seriously. She just stay at home mom, right? Clean up after him. But I get it though. Yeah, she's a black mom and my clean up the blah blah whatever, right? Whatever. But it's like all that is cool. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Well, back to the video.
take the workload off of her. To be fair, Rochelle's children are much older during
Oh.
the event.
It's bro. Most of the thing with her is not even she tells them to do work. It's one the fact that she likes the daughter more. I, I, is it the daughter or Drew that she likes more? But she definitely doesn't like Chris. We could just say that. So that's really just the problem. Just like that, the favoritism. This shit is just crazy. Especially that episode where she was making him do everything as the person. I don't do everything, but I do a little bit of a lot. That shit be getting me mad. So it's like I get that nigga, and I ain't gonna lie, I up that motherfucker on if I was in a TV show on the set.
Of the show, which is very different from staying home with infants and toddlers. But back then, her reality consisted of caring for crying babies, changing diapers, breastfeeding around the clock, on top of attending to housework. A lot of people love to downplay the role of stay-at-home moms, but it's actually a full-time job. As a father of 3, I can speak from experience. It's hard work. There is no clocking out of it. The responsibilities are constant, and most of the work often goes unnoticed because people only end up realizing what you
Just like he said, there's no clocking out of it. But like you just clocked out of your regular job and you go home, you gotta clock into that job. So it's like nobody trying to say it's not a hard job. But don't take it out on the goddamn kids. If that shit's so hard, then motherfucker go get a regular job and tell Julius to stay at home. Because you know his little tired ass would love that shit.
don't do. Also, a lot of these moms begin to lose a part of their identity. Just think about it. You spend all day preparing food for your kids, preparing food for your husband, cleaning, washing kids, washing clothes. All of your energy is going to your children and household responsibilities. Of course, parenting is a responsibility, but life is also about balance. And many mothers don't get to have this balance. This is why I try to take as much pressure off my wife as possible. In our household, there aren't strict gender roles. Obviously, I handle more of the traditional manly things such as taking out the trash, cutting the grass, cleaning the cars. But when it comes to cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the kids, we both handle it. I feel like this balance keeps both of us happy. And this prevents one person from carrying the entire weight of the household on their own. Now, this doesn't excuse every flaw that Rochelle has, but it does add some context to her behavior. Some of her intensity, frustration, and controlling tendencies may stem from the pressure, exhaustion, and emotional sacrifices that come with dedicating your entire life to keeping a family together. As I get older and I watch my sons grow up, I've started to understand
everybody has to
parents like Rochelle more.
sacrifice.
People have a lot to say about the way
Again,
she treat Chris in this show. And
I just
rightfully
don't
so,
give a
because
fuck. It
sometimes
don't-
she be too
she
it.
don't
But a
give
lot
a
of it
fuck.
comes
Sometimes-
from love and preparation. Moms like Rochelle are tough on their kids because they know how harsh the world can be, especially for black people. That strictness is often rooted
So
in
you gonna make it
survival
hard at
and
the crib?
preparation. Many black
It's like, I
parents
don't get
raise
that,
their
though.
children on the belief that they have to be more disciplined, more prepared, and more resilient because society gives them
that
less
makes sense,
room
but
for
it's
error.
like-
So when Rochelle does things
I
that
don't
seem
feel ruined the
extreme,
house
like
for that
making
nigga,
Chris
too.
walk to school during a blizzard,
That's
it
what my
looks harsh
parents did.
on the surface, but I understand the principle. There is a saying by many black elders: you have to work twice as hard just to get half as far. Rochelle especially tries to instill this mindset into him early on. Excuses do
love
not
Chick-fil-A.
protect him in the real world. If you have
'Cause
somewhere to be, such as a job, you show up early, no matter the circumstances.
don't-
Whether it's storming,
they
hailing,
don't,
snowing,
cheap out.
the assumption is that you push through.
They don't cheap out on the sauce.
That pressure may sound unfair because it is. The margin of error is much smaller for black people, especially in professional or corporate spaces, but that's exactly why parents like Rochelle does the things she do. So instead of directing this anger towards Rochelle's parenting style, maybe the real anger should be directed at the system that created this mentality in the first place. Why is the margin of error so small for us? Why do black children feel the pressure to grow up faster and be more perfect than
Even if we try to
That's
blame the
the
system,
all of it.
it's like we could blame it, but we're not gonna change it. So let's change the parent. Something that can change.
Her father, Gene. Everyone loves him, including Julius and the kids. But one night at dinner, while telling jokes and eating pork chops with the family, Gene suddenly suffers a fatal heart attack. After his death, Rochelle changes completely. She stops yelling, becomes emotionally numb, avoids expressing her grief, and is seen as an entirely different person. Normally, Rochelle is loud, strict, and always wanting to be in control. So the family becomes worried when she starts to act this way. Soon, Rochelle's extended family show up to get ready for the funeral preparations, including her difficult mom, Maxine. Now, Maxine, in my opinion, is one of the main contributors to all of the negative elements that we see present within Rochelle. When she first arrives, Maxine immediately creates tension instead of comfort. After hugging Rochelle, she gives a very snob comment about the odor of her hair, implying that it smells bad because of using a cheap perm. This is a normal dynamic of their relationship. While growing up, Maxine constantly criticized and was harsh to Rochelle, nitpicking and hyperfixating on every little thing she does wrong. Maxine even talks down on her to Julius. While conversing, Maxine states how her and Rochelle's dad were married for 40 years. Julius replies that he hopes her and Rochelle can make it that long. Maxine then says she's surprised Julius is still with her by the way she keeps up with the home, basically implying she's doing a bad job at running her household. Julius doesn't respond at all.
I would've fought her.
Look of disgust, rightfully so. I want to add that I wish Julius would stand up for her.
Yeah,
more, but that's just how Julius.
I was
is.
thinking the same thing doing this episode.
We also meet Rochelle other family members, her aunties and big brother Mike, who we will bring up later on. Maxine once again, though, is seen over critiquing. While everyone is sitting around freeloading, she asks Rochelle to help her pick out a casket for Jean and grab her a cup of tea. Rochelle was busy at this time. Mike was just sitting around on the couch. The aunties weren't doing anything productive, but she finds a way to single out Rochelle and put all the burden on her. To make it worse, once Rochelle gives her the drink, she complains. She says it tastes weird, claiming it to be Nestea instead of Lipton. Chris corrects her.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm the type of dude, I don't give a damn what kind of pain you're going through, bro. You ain't gonna put that motherfucker on me. I ain't that dude.
Everything is fine. She claims to be okay, but deep down, Chris knows this isn't true. He then gives her a much needed hug, and she tells him she loves him. This version of Rochelle is so different because of the presence of Maxine. She is emotionally overwhelmed and falls back into the submissive daughter role that she probably experienced growing up. This is why the family becomes uncomfortable. Rochelle, without her voice, is unrecognizable. The bossing around, demanding order, and other acts of authority and rule we no longer see. And as a result of this, the house starts to fall apart. Chores aren't being done, the house starts getting messy, and it's chaotic. Whether you like it or not, the way Rochelle runs this house works. She's the voice that everyone needs. Because of this, Chris picks up the slack, in a way turning into his mom. Around the house, Maxine's nagging continues. She reminds Rochelle that tomorrow they'll be going to the funeral home to pick out a casket, and that she should wear something presentable so people won't think they can't afford a decent one. This is another example of how Rochelle's current behavior is heavily influenced by Maxine. Throughout the show, we constantly hear Rochelle parrot this same
Rochelle is doing a younger version of her. Literally, like,
and look presentable, but it also raises an
sense by sense, step by step, gene by gene,
in defense of both Maxine
DNA
and
by
Rochelle,
DNA.
This mindset didn't just come out of thin air. Rochelle strongly plays into respectability politics, something I infer she learned from Maxine. Respectability politics is the belief that marginalized groups can gain acceptance, opportunities, or better treatment by behaving in ways the dominant culture sees as respectable through dressing, speech, manners, education, and behavior. Based on the show, Rochelle would have been born in 1939. Even though her family didn't live in Jim Crow South, they still experienced segregation, redlining, unequal schooling, and employment discrimination. To add on, Rochelle would have attended school around the 1950s to the early or middle.
Damn, Rochelle old as dirt.
Part of the civil rights era.
Forgot.
Respectability politics
It's supposed to be Chris's life.
To many black Americans at this time, it was seen as a form of protection and a way to push back against racist stereotypes. During the civil rights era, this often meant emphasizing formal dress, politeness, church values, education, discipline, proper speech, non-violence.
Now that I know that it's in the early 90s, makes a little bit more sense.
Wearing suits, maintaining calmness, and disciplined behavior while they were attacked. They wanted the television audiences to clearly see the contrast between peaceful black citizens and violent segregationists. At this time, the strategy was powerful, and in many ways it worked. Me personally though, I never could get into respectability politics. At the end of the day, after preaching love, unity, and positivity, Martin Luther King was still assassinated. Even using the great Malcolm X, who preached the entire opposite, was also killed in a suit. Even in 2026, we still hear people try to justify racism through the lens of respectability politics. They'll say things like, oh, white people are only racist because of the way black people act. It's the culture, this and that. But history continues to prove otherwise. We could take this year's graduation season. Black excellence was seen worldwide. New black doctors, new black engineers, new black lawyers.
Yes.
In a way, assimilated
Yes,
into society.
has some
and
black
these people were still met with racism.
power and
tweet.
love
It's captioned, new doctor
and winning.
and it's a photo of him posing with his doctorate degree. We can find quote tweets with over 12,000 likes stating, colleges need to start being fined for releasing these unqualified DEI into the healthcare field.
Damn.
16,000 likes. Universities should be fined for releasing the ghetto into the medical world.
Damn.
Example, we have a young lady. Update. I graduated law school. Sweet. Can't wait until you DEI your way into being a judge where you inevitably give probation to 10 times plus felons who will kill white women. Doubt it. There's a 99% chance you were shoved through law school by woke teachers whose sole purpose is to magnify DEI. And I just want to show you guys all of this black excellence, man. New doctor on the block. Shout out to this woman. She became a doctor. Shout out to this brother. He became a doctor. And I can show you guys.
I hope they make the meals.
Same reactions. The bottom line is light skin, dark skin, short, tall, fat, skinny, rich, poor, well-behaved, rebellious. If a person is racist, they are still going to see you as a nigga. Even the whole idea of looking
you black, big boy.
Anti-blackness. Hairstyles like locks are labeled as unprofessional. But why? Because they aren't clean cut? In reality, if a person can do a job, they can do the job. Who cares what hairstyle they have or the way they want to portray themselves? Instead of constantly feeding into respectability politics, why don't we change it or question the system? There's a stigma that to get high corporate jobs, you have to cut your hair as a black man. Why? that. Let's rebel against this shit, not just accept it. Rochelle passes many of these beliefs on to her children. She constantly obsesses over appearances, how the family look, what the neighbors think, what this person thinks. She wants her children to appear disciplined, respectable, and
No weird
well-behaved
shit.
in a way to
Rochelle
impress
is
them white folks. This
a
also
typical
highlights
woman.
another issue within the black community. Many black parents feel pressure to take away parts of their children's freedom at an early age in order to protect them from public judgment or embarrassment. Children are naturally energetic, loud, and playful. They should be able to run around free and enjoy being kids without constantly being judged. From my personal experience, when I go out in public, I see white people letting their kids run free. But a lot of black people don't allow this with their kids. They want to keep them on a leash and make them seem more like a pet. As a parent, I am learning to let my kids be kids. Obviously, they ain't going to embarrass me.
My kids was putting me on a leash. I used to my kids. My parents was putting me on a
I'm gonna let
leash.
them do so. I don't care what them people got to say.
But I hated it.
No, another thing about Rochelle that I like, even though it feeds into respectability kind of, is her emphasis on education. Throughout the show, no matter what's going on, Chris, Drew, and Tanya are always expected to be in school. The way they portrayed it is very funny and also relatable. For a lot of us, missing school is a big no-no. And if you stay home sick, you had to
A big hell no.
You had to be really sick. So for a lot of us, if our parents caught us trying to sneak and play the game or sneak and watch
Even if
TV
I'm
or
really sick,
laughing or
I
showing
still
some
get
type of
sent to
emotion,
school,
they would think
but I
that
just
we're
get picked
faking
up.
it and try to send us to school. I think this is just a canon moment for black Americans. Within some threads, I saw a lot of people call Rochelle an abusive parent for doing this, but it's just something that we dealt with growing up. It's funny looking back because at times I was faking it.
I was trying to, but that bit didn't work.
That bit didn't work. Rochelle made. Watching this constant criticism, Chris finally steps in and defends his mom. He says, well, can't you leave her alone? It's iced tea. If you thirsty, drink it. If not, then don't. Immediately after, everyone is shocked. And Maxine responded the same way that Rochelle does. Violence. Threatening to knock him into another family. Now, this is another thing I want to address within the black community. This probably isn't just with black people, but in many of our households, any rebuttal or small talk back is seen as disrespect.
Listen to him, folks.
Chris's tone was maybe out of line, but the substance
no,
of his
definitely
argument was completely
It definitely
fair. If you
was.
don't like the way the tea tastes, then just don't drink it. I need a lot of black parents to understand that kids are human too. Many times this talking back or disrespect is nothing but them expressing how they feel. A lot of times the problem stems from egos. Many parents believe that just because they're older than their kids and that they are the parents, that they are automatically right. But that's not true. Some of these kids make great points at times, but because they're older and feel like they have more experience, they dismiss it. We then see the entire family at the funeral home preparing to buy a casket for Jean. This scene gives us another clear example of why Rochelle acts the way she does. Out of all the casket options, Maxine immediately pushes for the most expensive one. On top of that, she expects Rochelle and Julius
Again,
to pay for it.
I hate that
The rest
S
of the family
word.
barely contributes. One relative offers $40, another offers some quarters, and Rochelle's brother, Mike, who in my opinion should be carrying most of the financial load,
Bum
donates
ass.
a measly, worthless baseball card. And then when Rochelle explains that her and
How
Julius
can he
can't afford it,
take the
Maxine
financial?
immediately
He don't got no
gets
finances.
why not? You always bragging about your husband having 2 jobs. Maxine then storms off and guilt trips Rochelle for not buying the expensive casket. As she leaves, the whole family follows her, and her big brother Mike makes a snarky comment stating, "You wrong for that." What is she wrong for, Mike? Not using her entire family's money to pay for a overpriced casket that isn't going to add any value? Why don't you pay for it? Oh, I forgot, you don't have a job. This scene highlights another dynamic that I believe shaped Rochelle growing up. In some black households, daughters are often treated very differently from the boys and the males. The girls face harsher discipline, stricter expectations, less freedom, more responsibility, while the boys are babied, favored, and held to lesser standards.
My son been dating. Oh,
Really?
and I've allowed.
I don't know.
I've encouraged.
I don't know what houses y'all are from, but like the first ones. No, I ain't gonna lie. Other than me, bro, ain't none of that shit true, bro. Like my sister, she is the favorite, but that's because she's the smartest, and she's the most like she has the most awards academically, so that's why she's the favorite, bro. My family ain't no favorites, nigga. They don't fuck with none of us, nigga. You better just go get that money, go get that education, and go get, nigga. Niggas talking about favorites and shit. Me, no, blah, that dumb shit. You said that.
Encourage?
But
At
my
15?
daughter,
I hope
Nigga,
you're
I'm not
not
even supposed to
encouraging
date,
that.
nigga. Like,
it's
I mean, of course I'm gonna get my
absolutely
shit off.
I hope you know I'm going to be talking about this on the TV show.
You have to, because first of all, and I know I get in trouble a
Yes,
lot because I
please.
say things
Ooh,
on my
this is
chest.
so good.
But there is a difference when parenting a son and then when parenting a daughter.
You gotta tell
I
that
am,
nigga brush some
yes,
toes.
because I'm more protective of my daughter because there's
He
things
not wrong.
out there that I have to protect my daughter from, like.
You're one sentence away
Himself.
from launching your website with Base 44. Since the beginning of the internet, there's never been such a fun, fast, and intelligent way.
As we know, there's certain type of individuals that you want to
Himself.
keep your daughter away from.
Himself.
My son is not calling me like, Dad, she hit me.
Now this take is definitely controversial, and many parents, especially fathers, approach parenting this way. The problem is, all children deserve equal protection, not just daughters. Lately, I've come across countless stories from men reflecting on experiences they had as boys with older women who groomed or took advantage of them. Many of them still carry the effects of those experiences into adulthood.
On
This
some
side
MJ
of the broader
shit.
issue of black boys often be viewed as older than what they actually are. The moment their voice deepens or grow a little bit of facial hair, they are no longer seen as children. They're treated like grown men. That mindset can create a dangerous double standard. When parents are hyper-protective of their daughters but less attentive to their sons, it can lead to neglecting the challenges boys face. As a result, some may end up getting girls pregnant at a young age, getting into legal trouble, or facing
They
other
talking
serious
about me,
consequences that could have been
guys.
prevented with the same level of guidance and protection. From my own experience, I've also noticed that girls raised in extremely strict, overprotective households often end up rebelling, whether it's dating, partying,
Oh,
or
look
other
at the-
behaviors their parents
Look at the
try to
nips
prevent.
on her, guys. Look at the nip.
Just look at these college girls.
Yeah, how old is she?
For everyone, but in a
This
broader
is-
scheme, I noticed the pattern. I don't have a daughter, but I can tell you that I don't play about my 3 sons. And if I did have a daughter, I would approach her the same way. I think my mindset comes from the fact that I live with my wife. We have talks all the time. She's a girl. She know how girls behave. And as far as Nick Cannon, I don't think he's much in a position to dictate these kinds of standards. With more than 10 children across multiple households,
I was about to say, who cares what Nick Cannon got to say about a family?
Involved in every of his child's life. On top of him balancing work and other responsibilities. I also think with men like Nick Cannon, it's a part of a guilty conscience. Some men look back on the way they treated women in the past and consciously or unconsciously try to protect their daughters from men who remind them of their younger selves. With Rochelle, we can clearly see that her brother Mike is not treated the same way she
I ain't treat hoes bad, but I just think of the way that I could have
It's unfair, and this
treated them, and I'm like, no, I hope they don't do this to my little daughter.
But just the cheaper one. Still reinforcing that she is held to a higher standard than everyone else. Before going to the funeral, Rochelle sits in her room and stares at a picture of her father. He then appears to her, and the two begin talking. Rochelle tells him that she's doing okay, but admits her mother Maxine is getting on her last nerve. Jean reminds Rochelle that just because he's gone doesn't mean she has to let Maxine boss her around. He tells her that it's okay to stand up for herself. Even though this moment was all in Rochelle's mind, it's still meaningful advice that she keeps in the back of her head. Later during the repast after the funeral is held, Rochelle finally snaps back into her normal, outspoken self. After she catches Maxine eating her turtles, Rochelle reaches her breaking point. She calls Maxine out for being a nuisance since arriving. She also puts Mike in his place, telling him to get his
The
feet off her
fat ass.
couch. She tells her Aunt Charlotte to stop all that damn crying, and even tells her
And toot some
squeaky
shit up.
voice aunt to speak up and talk like a grown woman. Rochelle is back on it. And honestly, this is what everyone needs. Without Rochelle, everything falls apart. And this episode does a great job at personifying this. Yes, Rochelle is flawed. We all are. But at the end of the day, she is a great mother who, in my opinion, did
Rochelle is the
best job
flaw.
she could have raising her
Face
kids.
on.
Before leaving, Rochelle and Maxine share one final conversation. Maxine apologizes. Well, not in a traditional sense. Instead, she compliments Rochelle by saying she liked the flowers. To most people, this may seem small, but it's actually big for Maxine. This episode then ends with a heartfelt moment between Chris and Rochelle. But in classic Rochelle fashion, that warmth only lasts for a slight moment because she finds Chris's yo-yo on the floor and starts yelling. God damn, Chris, how many times she gotta tell you? That's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. What y'all gotta say about this video, man? I know
Yo,
I may
that
have
was
some
quick.
Rochelle haters in here, but I don't care about none of that. This is my
Rochelle.
favorite TV mom. I'm taking
What the
this
fuck?
type of slander. But that's
What the fuck? Nigga, Rochelle? Oh, hell. Oh, shit. Oh, hell no.